real because it's getting kind of ridiculous. It is June 17th, so that means I'm more than halfway through my allotted time to work on the first draft of a new novel. I am not halfway. I'm anticipating the first draft will be about 80,000 words. I think I've written like 17,000 or something like that. I was giving myself a 3-month span, June and July, to draft this novel. I have never drafted a novel that quickly because I can never stay focused long enough to get that done. I have done NaNoWriMo before, so I've written 50,000 words in a month. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it by the end of July. I think I'm going to wait till then to reassess before I'm going to just try and write as much of the story as I can before the end of July. I also want to read. I filmed a 24-hour readathon a while ago. I haven't really read very much since then. I want to write. I want to read. But I'm sure there'll be other things I think of, and I'll mention those. Right now what I'm going to do is probably pull out my little planner and bullet journal and try to get a little bit of a game plan going. It is a Wednesday, so it's like the middle of a week, but I need to not wait until a Sunday to restart. It's still technically spring until Sunday, so Sunday will be an excellent reset, but I need to prepare for my reset. stretch, but it was really fun. So I'm looking forward to that release. To Thursday, which is the morning you just saw. I was so unlocked in that whole entire freaking day, dude. I started playing this game. What was it called? Cozy Herbal Baker or something. It was so cute. I played for at least 2 hours, but then it cut me off. I was like, no! And I think they just uploaded the demo, and it says early access is soon, but I'm like, bro, that was so fun. I want to play more. So I actually made a new save on the demo and started playing it again late yesterday. I was reading Project Hail Mary, and then I was like, I need to work on something else or else I'm going to lose Steam completely. This was a bit of a side quest, okay? I don't know why I felt the need to do this. Actually, I do know why, because on Instagram Reels, I've been seeing people make these little miniatures out of cardboard boxes, making houses and little things like that. And I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to make a cardboard house from the fantasy novel I'm writing that actually is shelved because it is like a time and energy pit for me, because I will spend so much time on this project without actually resulting in a good draft. But you know, so I'm like, I need to work on a different draft so I can like keep doing things, because I could just spend forever on the tiny details of this project. For example, doing random things like this. So I have done this before on The Sims 4. So what I did is I went onto The Sims 4. I copied the blueprint into Google Sheets. I made all of the cells like squares. I shaded in and put lines and stuff. And then I printed those out. And then I transferred it like each block was an inch. And then I just started cutting up cardboard and taping it together. It was actually really good at first. And then I realized that I did it wrong. And so then I had to cut it up and retape it. But now all of the walls that I had for the first floor, they were all cut up, so now it's not as sturdy. It's also annoying because I made just the floor of the second level, aka the ceiling for the first level, and I did it off of the floor plan. That was wrong. Actually, I'm gonna go show you. Alrighty, here's what I have so far. I accidentally built walls for, but I realized this is actually just a porch. So this part needs to actually not be walls, it needs to be like a fence. It looks actually like butt, but it did look good, and it kind of looks good because it's just like the draft. I'm gonna like, I don't know, wallpaper and carpet and paint, I don't know. But this little bit is the back porch. Here we have my ceiling, but you see it does not line up anymore, so it's pretty freaking tragic. And then I was gonna just leave it and make a new blueprint and adjust from there, but I was like, no, how hard could it be to just like redo it? Pretty hard, actually. But I still have to build all of the interior walls. This is one room, this is the porch, but I am gonna build like a stairwell and different floors, and I think I'm gonna do like miniature furniture and stuff. And then, like I said, paint or wallpaper or carpet, like all that kind of stuff. I don't know how long that's going to take me. Probably a long time. Good morning, guys. It is such a beautiful day today. It is 8:42 in the morning. The only problem with this is I do not have a good place to sit. I'm on my knees and it is very uncomfortable. It is June 21st, which means that today is the summer solstice. So the longest day of the year, shortest night. It's referred to as Midsummer Letha in terms of the Wheel of the Year, which I have been getting super into of late. I love this book, The Wheel of the Year by Fiona Cook and Jessica Rue. It is technically a children's book, but I love it anyway. It's filled with gorgeous illustrations, all sorts of different activities and recipes, different traditions surrounding the equinoxes, the solstices, and the midway points between each of those. The Wheel of the Year is it's been really interesting to me because I feel like the way we live today, abiding by a Gregorian calendar, leaves us so completely out of sync with nature the world outside, the world that we are meant to be a part of. It keeps us out of sync with that. There are discrepancies in our lifestyles because of it. There's deficiency, living indoors, living inside by artificial light, etc., incongruent with the seasons. So for me personally, I have taken quite the interest in the Wheel of the Year, not for religious purposes. I don't identify as a Wiccan or a witch or even a pagan, even though I have been learning a lot about pagan traditions. Seeing what resonates there. Sorry, I just have to stretch my legs a little bit here. I have always disliked summer. Summer has always been my least favorite season personally. I think it's because summer is summer vacation and you spend time with friends and things like that. I was homeschooled. We kind of had schooling all year long. My friends were long distance. I didn't get to see many friends. The flow of my year was very separate from the flow, I feel, of the average child or teenager's year, or person's year just in general in America. And the thing about summer is the outdoor season, is how we understand it. And it is to a certain extent. But summer does get to a point of unbearability where I live and in places that operate on a true 4-season cycle where you experience the hot summers and the cold winters. So summer can be easily in the 90s, over 100 degrees, sweltering humidity, to a point where you can't reasonably be spending that time outdoors. So I would spend that time indoors. And the days are so long and the nights are so short. I'd end up exhausted and I would sleep so many summer days away and I would feel horrible doing that. From what I understand, in other cultures, they do more to accommodate the long days of summer. Siestas and things of that nature. Taking an hour or so in the heat of the day to nap or rest. And I feel like that is something that is so lost in the American lifestyle, the American way of living. When I started implementing that for me, it made me feel so much better. It made summer more bearable. And I think a way to be more in line with nature, because you're not meant to be without shelter in the frigid cold of winter or the sweltering heat of summer. But mornings like this are definitely meant for being outside. But this is something I didn't do for a long time. It's something I had to come to and trying to figure out what will work for me because I knew what was not working for me. I wanted to do something to honor the summer solstice more than I have before. I had every intention of rising early this morning, coming outside at 5:30 in the morning to watch the sunrise. Unfortunately, my previous late night did not really accommodate that. I was not in bed until 1 or 2 in the morning, which is so unlike what we're supposed to be doing, I think. So because of that, I did not rise early enough to see the sunrise, but I do want to see the sunset tonight. Alright, well, my camera died. Basically, I was going to make mention of the idea of the Holly King and the Oak King, which are figures in neo-pagan traditions. The idea is that these two kings are at war with one another in terms of the waxing day and the waning day. So as the days grow longer, this is the Holly King reigning. And then come the summer solstice, he is thwarted by the Oak King, who rules the waning days, which I find that so interesting to think about. From summer up until the beginning of winter are actually waning days. They are long, but the longest days are between May Day, Beltane, Bealtaine, up through the true middle of summer, not midsummer, meaning the height, truly the middle of summer. That is so different from the way I would think of anything before, and it's different from what I think when I initially think of the Wheel of the Year to begin with. Something about the structure of the Wheel of the Year with the 8 spokes really speaks to me, so to speak. It's an adjustment I'm making for the first time this year because typically in trying to operate within the Gregorian calendar, I would accommodate my life and routines in a certain way. It felt strange for a cycle to reset on the 21st of a month, so I would call the beginning of summer June 1st. Because that was easier. I would call the beginning of fall September 1st, and that's when I would start decorating my home autumnally. That is not the most ideal way to follow nature's rhythms. For midsummer, I wanted to wake in time to watch the sunrise. But if you think of the Holly King and the Oak King, this is the day the Holly King is overthrown by the Oak King. To watch the sunset seems to make sense, which I do plan on doing this evening.